Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can see the slides. And while hybrid IT, some of you might know it, some of you might not. And I'll get to what hybrid IT means. Let me share a thought with you. For the purposes of digital transformation, hybrid means exactly a meeting of non-IT and IT. You'll find this not on any textbook, not on Google. It's just me, right? Whether you're in accounts, whether you're in a government department providing services to the residents of a municipality or a state, whether you're working in a hospital, whether you're working in operations, and of course if you're working in IT, you can play a digital transformation role in your organization. Every one of us can play it. As Mr. Amit was saying, that it's also today the consumers which are driving the change. You cannot be sending emails to your customers when they expect WhatsApp updates, right? So there is a lot of forces at play, and while I get to what hybrid IT actually is, or what the textbook definition is, I always love to start with the fact that hybrid means you and IT putting things together. And you need not be just an employee of your organization. You could be a supplier. You could be a customer of another organization. You could be partners with 2 or 3 organizations. You could be part of an association. And everyone else gets included in this you. So you and IT equal to hybrid IT. The Industrial Revolution gave us a lot of things: the steam engine, the internal combustion engine, electricity. Later on, it went on to give us television, telephones, telegraphs, so on and so forth. But today, every of this aspect which was given to us in the revolution, the Industrial Revolution, is disrupted, right? We are in the future. Now, the disruption is due to a storm of technological innovation, of the way we create and consume IT and data, the ability to process information in as real time as possible. I mean, if you think about, again, the Industrial Revolution and leading to today, communications was TV, telegraph, telephone, almost instantaneous, now online with the internet. So a perfect storm has been created with technology disruption, which brings us to the future, which we are in today. A lot of technologies have already been discussed, and while I will not mention what they do because it has been covered, let me quickly touch upon some aspects which we normally don't think of. Just in last week's Economist, I read that GE, Pratt & Whitney, the guys who make the aircraft engines, now will have robots going into the engines, not only to take video and so on and so forth, but also to analyze the internal structure, defects, so on and so forth, thus further decreasing the time that an engine overall and maintenance requires on airplanes. And that's in point number 5 of this slide. Overall, what I would say is that if I were to sum it up in a simple phrase, I would say that intelligent interconnectedness is driving this entire revolution in which we find ourselves. Intelligent interconnectedness. We all have seen changes here. We all deal with businesses, so suddenly we're seeing GST, CST, IGST, I do not know what all, so many GSTs there. We all are using Aadhaar more and more, right? Isn't it? I mean, I was reading just when I was driving by, I was again reading Aadhaar enabled in the airport for something. I was thinking that this is stretching it a bit too far, but it is true. Aren't we all using it more and more in our daily lives? What if I could tell you that you can go back to your businesses, to your partners, to your customers, and say that I will help you launch a business in the EU, from within the EU, without going to Europe. Perfectly valid business. Will your department colleagues be amazed? Will your bosses be amazed? Of course they will be. But if you think of the Aadhaar, the digital payments, and the technologies which we are used to today, let me talk to you about an advanced step of technological disruption. Estonia is a small country in Europe. It is the world's first country where you can apply for a residency and you can get the residency and maintain it without going to Estonia. It's an e-residency, sorry. But you are considered a digital citizen of Estonia if you are an e-resident of Estonia, which means you can set up a business, transact business, invoice people, get money, collect, ship, do everything what we are normally used to in a business while sitting in Delhi. Perfectly possible. They have moved so far that now I think, if I'm not mistaken, only 2 processes still require physical signatures. One is purchase of land and property, and there's one more which I cannot remember, but nothing else exists which cannot be done with connectivity in Estonia. Recently, in fact, even for shareholding, voting, they have introduced blockchain technology. So the shareholders can vote for whatever the board proposes or doesn't propose, or whatever it might be. They can vote using blockchain technology. You can do it too. The point being here that what has happened in Estonia is happening all across the world, is a revolution. And when we ask customers that what are the questions that are there in their minds when it comes to this, these are the questions which need to be answered and which is at the forefront of everyone's mind, which will enable them to think and analyze as to where they are in this journey of digital transformation. Number 1, do we understand the change needed? And why is this change needed at all in the first place? It's because largely it's an always-on world. If Gmail is giving you 1 GB of data and Outlook.com or Hotmail is giving you 1 GB of data with your mailbox, isn't it obvious that you're going to go and ask the IT department inside your company saying that, oh, if Gmail can give it to me for free, without charging anything, you, Mr. IT, you're not giving me, why aren't you giving me? I need from internal IT also. It's an always-on, always connected world. So the expectations overall are larger across the board. And hence, the delivery mechanism which existed in the past has to change. If you think about IT projects, or even if you think about other projects, there is a budget assigned to a project. We feel that we need XYZ. Let's start a project. Budget is assigned. There is a kickoff, whether a formal kickoff with a meeting or just starting the work. There's a defined kickoff. There are milestones. And then there's a project end. Right? Now, this is a paradigm which needs to change, because your customers, consumers, other business partners, etc., they stay in an always-on mode. Suppliers, so the entire ecosystem around us is now in an always-on mode, and there's a continuous process. This is continuous, right? So you also need to understand what it means to be relevant in the always-on mode. Can you do it alone? No. It's hybrid. You need the business, you need the experts, you need the departments, you need people to collaborate, you need your suppliers, so on and so forth, to collaborate. In terms of using external companies, Gartner has estimated not estimated, sorry. Gartner has surveyed from the top companies in various verticals around the world that these companies have now deployed twice as many digital partners than they have in the past 2 years. And it's expected to double again in 2018. This is also happening because now IT projects are being also initiated from outside the IT department. The legal department sees something, hears of something, knows something from a conference or searching online, comes back to the IT department and says, look, our competitor has got it, so do we. We want a similar system. A lot of projects are being brought about to companies from various departments. So the partner ecosystem handling these discrete sets of requirements is also increasing at the same time. Now, this goes back to my first slide also, delivering on the expectation of the always-on consumer. While this might not be true for all organizations, it's largely true for the way we do business and the way things have come to mean. And as consumers, when the expectation of services, when the expectation of products delivery as well, and the expectation of interaction, of commercial interaction with providers like Amazon.in, Flipkart, so on and so forth, is there 24/7, the same expectation boils over or runs over to an entire ecosystem of companies. Let's try and now step from the non-IT part to the IT part. While every department and every person might have an idea or might have heard of something or has seen a competitor doing something and brings it to within the company to discuss and analyze whether we should roll out this project or no, or whether we should have this as well or no, the underpinnings of this are still technology. It is us in the IT departments which has to make it happen. And as we start analyzing the wide spectrum of services that the company is requesting us as IT to deliver for our employees and suppliers and so on and so forth, we quickly realize that the digital business platform can never look the way it has looked in the past, and it has to change as well. Sorry, I need to go near a screen. So you had the industry, very simplified. You had a stack, a 3-tier. You had data center, storage, servers, networks, so on and so forth, running applications for your employees. And those applications used to perform the tasks that your company wanted done, right? Simple. Then you add on connectivity, so on and so forth. The whole paradigm has changed because now, where are the applications? Yes, some of them are there in your data center, which has become a very small part even of this slide if you see. Some of them are there on Azure, Microsoft Azure. Some of them that are not even there on Azure. You're directly taking a piece of software, let's say Salesforce for your customer management as a service. So some of them are not even there on this cloud. Plus, there is a need now to embed technologies, bring on technologies on board to achieve a value creation which is demanded by today's world. So what does a digital platform look like? What is the IT, I would say, IT standpoint and IT expectation in the scheme of things? The expectation is that while everyone gets their newfangled toys to play with, all departments and management and dashboards and everything, we have to make it run, right? It's us in IT which makes the whole thing run and work, which means we have to find a way of making everything work together. We have to find a way of making the process automation, robotic process automation journey flow and work. But the overall digital journey will consist again of what was standard. Let's say a mainframe running your core banking application in the background. We have to decide what can be rationalized and moved outside, and we have to decide that which of these services that we are constantly in the process of acquiring as a company are really dynamic, which need not be there within our premises and our IT domain from a traditional management viewpoint at all. Only when we get the capability and our heads around that let's address this discrete ecosystem, including managing stuff on a private cloud and a public cloud, including Amazon Web Services, Oracle Cloud, or whatever it might be, and that what my company needs and will continue needing will be always, without fail, a mix and match of everything. Then we start addressing the needs of tomorrow. 20 years back, 15 years back, if you had to invest money, right, your personal money, what did you have? You had shares you could buy. You could buy mutual funds, units. Insurance was different once upon a time. Savings deposit, fixed deposit, recurring deposit, right? Simple things, 6, 7 things you can manage on a calculator at home on a piece of paper. Look at the stuff out there today. There's SIPs and insurance come investments and investment come insurance and online trading and options and futures and ta-ta-ta. We have to get our heads around managing a more complex world, of which not everything will be 100% in our control all the time. A project over 18 months we did for British American Tobacco helped us kill 22 data centers, 110 data centers in 20 countries. And we, over a period of 18 months, were able to fold back everything onto Azure, with some stuff still being with British American Tobacco. And here's, I do not know if you can read this, but the project addresses platforms, services around the different platforms, and this is not all Fujitsu or Amazon, it's a mix. The transformation needed to run the project and the orchestration layer needed eventually to make all these discrete pieces of IT work for the company. These are the 2 customer case studies for RPA that I'm showing, but I would like to end my presentation with these 2 slides. Start in your company. Start with processes which require manual efforts, where manual mistakes are an irritant to someone in your company, where it requires a lot of inputs from different departments and coordination is difficult. Look at such cases within your company, or take this process, identify whether there are problems with it or there is an aspiration in your company. Look at a digital solution for this and try and implement it. It could be small, but if it is a high impact one, preferably one which will immensely benefit from real-time data, start, identify these kind of projects and try to roll with one of them. You will find plenty of technology providers and plenty of ways in which to implement it. Secondly, effectively integrate. Work with different technology companies, with your own employees, with different departments. Make it a true process of digital co-creation. Keep everyone involved for these processes that you have identified, and start your journey on the digital transformation. Understand that your digital business platform or your IT systems have changed, and you now, as equally with everything else, now need to adapt to a wider scheme of things and keep this whole discrete set of machines and services running continuously together in sync to deliver the intended outcome. Last point is that remember, the days of IT project budget allocation, start, finish, end, middle, milestones, and all that is gone. It's a constant phase of innovation which needs to be brought about. And why does it need to be brought about is because if you will not do it, believe me, there are people, there are companies, there are organizations which will do it. Right? So digital transformation is in everyone's grasp. It is a true collaboration between IT and business people and departments, and it is possible to do it. You can start small, you can go big, and it just lays waste the traditional notions of working. You can start at it from any angle, discreetly, yet manage the whole scheme of things together. That's all from me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I have been able to get my message across. It's quite difficult to do it, but nevertheless, thank you very much. Have a nice day.